Welcome back. Hope all went well with installing the RankAnalyst server. As the server is now, I hope, up and running, let's get into the data. Okay, in this chapter, I will show you how to get and prepare the data you need to make the best use of RankAnalyst. Let's start with the minimum requirements to use RankAnalyst. Naturally, if you want to compare something, you need at least 2 data points. Plus, we will obviously need the keywords or search phrases, plus the corresponding URL, to know what we'll be comparing. So the minimum requirement is keyword or search phrase, URL, and 2 ranking data points organized in 4 columns, as you can see it here. As for the ranking data, we recommend to get that rankings on a weekly basis and collect a minimum of 4 weeks to have a chance to get to meaningful analysis results. However, you are not forced to collect the data on a weekly basis. You could also get them daily or monthly. The question then is, if you get interesting information if the time span is too short, or if you lose significant data if the time span is too long. It turned out, after working for some years now with RankAnalyst, that 1 week in between the data points is usually the best choice. Before we get started, one more remark. While we are using Ahrefs for this video to collect the ranking data, there are of course alternatives. You can use any service that delivers the already mentioned minimum requirements. Remember, keyword or search phrase, URL, ranking data, on a regularly updated basis. Systrix or Searchmetrics may come to mind. Probably needless to say, but you will obviously need an account for these services to use and download the data. But now let's get into it. I've already logged into Ahrefs. We'll be using the Site Explorer. In the entry field, we'll enter the URL we want to get the rankings for. Once this is done, the Explorer starts. What we are interested in is the organic keywords. Let's click on it. We now see a table of the keywords or phrases with some additional data. Let's take 1 second to make sure we'll get the data for the country we want to get it for. This precautionary action is recommended, as we may run into a situation where the country we are planning to observe does not have the highest amount of keywords, therefore won't be selected by Ahrefs initially, so always pay attention to it. It is now very important that we take 2 more steps to organize the table in the way we want to have it. What we want is all rankings in ascending order. To achieve this, we'll click on Position. We will need this later for the aggregation of the data with 9. To make sure we only get rankings from 1 to 100 and not rankings like 103, what happens from time to time, we'll limit the output to exactly these numbers in this dialog. Apply it, and the filter is set. So once it's done, we're almost finished. We now export the selected data, and that is basically it for Ahrefs. Best use full export, say start export, wait a bit, and then save ideally the file to your desired directory. If you plan to compare 1 or more competitors, the steps just discussed will need to be repeated for each additional URL. If you want to do so, just type this in like this. Finally, some advice. You may want to set up the directory structure for your project before you do the downloads. It appeared to be wise to use the project name as the root directory and then the dates of the respective downloads as directory names below that directory. This way you'll get an automated sorting and see at first sight when you started and when you finished. Well, that's how to get the raw data, but this is not yet what we'll need for RankAnalyst. In order to be used by RankAnalyst, we must aggregate this raw data. How you do this will show you the next chapter, where we'll guide you through the process of aggregation of the potentially different sites and the various weeks.